Welcome to the newest episode of Saved by the Books, where two ladies with opposite reading tastes discuss all things reading.
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of Saved by the Books. Paige and Becky are back with another episode. I know we missed a couple of weeks. I got sick, and then Becky had to deal with end of school, and now we're both sick again.
Yay for us.
Yeah, it's great. But at least we're here to record another episode, and yeah, I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah, it has.
Like, I feel like we're out of practice.
Right.
Not that we were in practice to begin with, but...
So, this month we both read What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. I literally just finished it a minute ago. So,
and I finished it a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And I took notes.
Yes,
I am
she did.
so proud of myself. I don't take notes when I read, but I did for this. So we will be discussing some things.
Okay, so what rating did you give it?
I think I would give it 3 stars.
That's what I just did.
I think, yeah.
Like, it wasn't a bad book.
No.
I wanted to finish the whole story. But it's definitely one I'm not gonna be picking up again, I think.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I just wanted to say, by the way, you guys, we will be talking about spoilers in this episode. So if you haven't read What Alice Forgot, definitely stop the episode now, come back after you have read it. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to get that out of the way before we actually started like digging into the book.
Yeah, and we'll put a big old spoiler notification coming up. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, and like we've talked about with ratings, it was a good book, and I really like her writing and the different point of views. But again, it's not one I don't think I'll pick it up again.
I don't think I'll ever reread it. No. So, in case you're watching this and you haven't, or listening to this and you haven't read the book, it's about a girl named Alice, or a woman named Alice, who is 29, and she's in love with her husband, about to have their first baby, whatever. Except she's not really 29, she's actually 39, and she had an accident, and she forgot 10 years of her life. And so, as the 39-year-old, she's actually getting divorced with 3 kids. So she basically wakes up and her life is completely different from what she thinks that it is. So it's definitely an interesting premise. This is the same author that wrote Big Little Lies, so if you recognize the author's name, that's why. And I feel like this definitely takes like the same vein as Big Little Lies, and like the domestic, not really thriller, but also kind of type of thing.
Yeah, it has that mystery, like that suspense, because you want to figure out what actually happened.
Yeah.
Because there is
obviously, there's, go ahead, sorry.
Well, there's this one friend that keeps getting brought up, and everyone's like, no, we can't reveal this person, and like, how does she not know about this person? So you're like, wait, so what was that person's role in her and her husband's divorce?
Yeah, and you don't know like why they're getting divorced, and like how that even came about. And you guys, I was just frustrated the whole time. So I mentioned in a YouTube video like a few days ago I mentioned in a YouTube video, or I'm going to mention in a YouTube video really soon, about books, and specifically like this, that basically the plot hinges on the fact that the characters aren't communicating. And that is one of my, I've discovered that this is one of my pet peeves. If literally we could sit the characters down for 5 minutes and they could just like get out what they need to say, and then the whole book goes away, then I'm just frustrated the entire time. So that's basically how I felt the entire time of this book. Also, okay, so with my notes, my first note: how likely is amnesia after banging your head on a bike handle? And then I said, Alice is annoying AF. So basically she gets into an accident at the gym, and she's at a spin class, and she falls and hits her head on a bike helmet, or not a bike helmet, a bike handle, and she loses 10 years of her life. And I just want to know how likely that is.
Well, I think when it comes to stuff, you know, a serious bump on the head, like a traumatic brain injury, it could potentially happen.
It could. Okay, I had a serious bump on the head once, and I didn't lose any memories.
Well, I know, but I think it could depend on...
And I understand that it can depend on, like, where you land, all that. Like, I'm a former nurse. Like, I get that part. But I just want to know how likely it is.
Well, I mean, with my migraines, with my really weird episode that happened 3 years ago, I lost all short-term memory completely in one moment. Yeah. And it took over a year for that to come back.
I just feel like the accident should have been different from what it was to be more believable. But it caused me to, like, I can suspend disbelief or whatever that phrase is for, like, certain things. But I was so distracted by this question, you guys. Like, for most of the book, I was like, no, I need to know, like, how this happened. I need to see your CAT scans. Like, I need to see, like, everything.
Well, but they said the CT was perfectly normal.
Yeah.
And see, my CT was perfectly
and they
normal.
are. Like, they are very commonly after a head injury. But I just still want to know, and maybe that's the nurse in me, like, wanting to know, like, all of the details. Also, I'm sorry, like, she's, like, way too passive, I feel like.
I think she's kind of become that way, though. Like, I mean, seeing your husband and, like, someone that you truly loved, and then now he's this workaholic that's never there.
But she didn't know all that. Like, literally, she gets this head injury, and they're taking her to the hospital, and she's just like, where is Nick? And, like, she asks, like, once, and then she does kind of just, like, starts getting distracted by, like, what shirt she's wearing. And, like, I'm just like, dude, no.
Well, I kind of feel like it's dazed and confused after something like that. And then with
I would
family,
be demanding for my husband. I'm just saying that right now. Because I am a big baby when it comes to things like that. And I would be like, where is Cody? I need my Cody. Like, get him here.
Well, and her family, when she asked, they just
they're so frustrating.
Yeah, they changed the subject and stuff because they knew. And then you see, like, when she does finally get a hold of, you know, his secretary, and then when Nick calls, like, it's just, you can tell that, I mean, that relationship is over with.
Yeah. See, I didn't get that impression. I got the impression that she wanted it to be over with, but he didn't want it to be. And so that's why I felt like he should have been more, not understanding, just like, I don't know, I guess, like, more,
like, forgiving or have empathy towards her in this situation.
Because I felt like he was still in love with her, and she was not.
I felt like that as it went on when he finally got back, because he went on a business trip to Portugal. So, like, he's now this major player of this company that she obviously didn't know about because she thinks it's 10 years in the past. And like, I think when he saw her and realized she was not the same person, that she was like 10 years, like, that's where it's slowly, and I think I can imagine how it is in that situation, that you're going through this nasty divorce and a custody battle, and then, you know, your future ex-wife thinks you are completely in love and everything's happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't understand why, and no one's telling her the reasons why, which the real reason why is because they never communicated.
Yeah, and the real reason why is because we need a plot.
Yeah.
But, okay, that brings up another point. If I literally put the book down and went in the living room and, like, called Cody downstairs for, like, a family meeting. Because I was like, if I ever lose my memory and I don't remember 10 years of my life, I don't even remember my kids exist, don't leave me with the children.
Right. I couldn't believe he did that.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, no, these kids are all less than 10. Keep in mind, like, the oldest is like 8 or 9. And you just leave all 3 of your kids with her. And I'm just like, she literally thinks she's like a 29-year-old woman and she has no idea what's going on. Like, granted, she probably won't burn the house down, but, like,
but 3 kids is a lot.
3 kids is a lot, and she doesn't remember them, and then nobody bothers to explain to them really what's going on. They think she just, like, bumped her head and has a headache, essentially.
Well, and then they were all worried that she had a brain tumor, but then, like, Tom, he's the middle child, he's the boy, but he's like, when he finds out it's amnesia, he just Googles it, and so he's like, no, don't you guys remember, she has amnesia, she doesn't know anything. Like, and so then they start playing what I think any typical child would in that moment, try to get anything by her. And I know. But yeah, I can't believe, one, her family left her, and two, her future ex-husband left her with the kids, knowing. Yeah. But she also did lie.
That's true.
She lied the whole time. She lied to the doctor saying, yes, she's remembering things. And then she lied to Nick, her, you know, her future ex-husband, that, yes, things were coming back. So it wasn't until, like, further in there.
Oh, it was just infuriating the whole way through because nobody communicated. Like, every time she'd ask a question, her mom or her sister would just be like, oh, we don't talk about that. And I'm like, no, I don't remember anything. You need to tell me what happened.
Well, and then the one thing the doctor said is you have to call the neurologist. Like, you have to set up an appointment. She never did that the entire time. And it kept getting repeated. I'm like, girl, like, there's actual steps you have to take when it comes to memory loss. I mean, I've been there, I've done it. Like, why haven't you called the neurologist? And plus, I would be more freaked out in that moment because, and I mean, like, you lost your memory. Like, it's huge. And I know for me, I drove my family crazy because I would ask, like, or say things over and over and over again. And, you know, my mom would be like, you've already told us that. Or I've already answered that. And I was like, I don't remember. And, like, and for her, it's 10 years. And she knows nothing. Like, she didn't even ask about allergies. Like, you know, she's cooking and all this stuff. And I'm like, kids have allergies. Or if they have asthma or basic stuff. Like,
yeah. But, I mean, I get that part because, like, as someone who's not a parent, if somebody just dropped their 3 kids off, like, I would be like, so pizza? Like, good? Let's get pizza and watch a Disney movie.
You would ask the kids, like, so, and, like, that's what she does. She's like, oh, so you're allowed to watch television in the morning? And they're like, oh, yeah, sometimes. It's like, clearly no. Like, I mean, I don't know. What else do you have?
Oh, my goodness. I don't, like, some of these I don't even know. Oh, I thought it was funny because they got pregnant, like, they basically got pregnant when she was 29, and, they basically just, it was, like, one time that, like, wasn't, like, they didn't wear a condom or whatever, and so they weren't super safe. Of course, they're married, so, like, it, like, realistically, it doesn't matter very much.
But they just had to reach, if she just stretched her finger, like, just a little further, and I'm like, what in the world?
And I was like, you know, that is how it would go.
Yeah.
That is how it would go. I don't know what I was referring to on page 90, whatever. But okay, so on page 109, that's the description of how Nick loves Alice. And I'm just like, that is pretty close to the front of the book. I'm just saying. He still loved her. The entire time. And, like, she's apparently dating this new guy and nobody knows him, and so he just kind of, like, shows up and...
Right, and he's the school principal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and so she's, like, the basic, what you think of, like, the Hollywood...
The divorce is her fault.
Yeah, well, like, the Hollywood, like, I feel like in movies and stuff, it's like the PTO mom. Like, always there, always super involved, all of that, but it's not...
It's another, like, basically, I felt like this book literally takes place in the same school, in the same town as Big Little Lies, except this is a different mom.
Like a different group.
Literally, that's how I feel.
Well, then, I mean, what about her sister? Like, okay, because how the book's set up, you have Alice's point of view, then her sister's writing in her journal to her therapist, and then her pseudo-grandmother, is writing letters to her, like, beloved, who we find out at the end.
Oh, and those were so annoying to me.
Well, and I mean, you get different points of view, but I'm still like...
Yeah, the only time, like, I didn't mind the sister's point of view because she was, like, in the thing, but, like, the pseudo-grandmother, I was like, I don't care. I don't need to know this. This was some crap you should have cut out.
And then the big reveal at the end was that, you know, her beloved died 2 weeks before they were supposed to get married, which is right around the time that Alice and Elizabeth, those are the sisters in the book, father died. But I'm like, what is this, like, what is this have to do with the plot? Like, because it didn't. Now, her sister Elizabeth had some stuff, and then it's a random moment when there's a coffee shop incident, and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, you never really fully find out what that is. Apparently, basically it's alluded to, like, Elizabeth possibly attempted to kidnap a child, but it's like, that's a pretty big event that you're just, like, not addressing.
Because Elizabeth struggles with infertility. Her and her husband have gone through, like, I think 7 or 8 rounds of IVF, and they've all failed. ending in like miscarriage and stuff. And so this is during like, it was like during one of those, and she's at a coffee shop and this little girl runs off and she's trying to alert the mom, but the mom's too busy, and the rest of the mom group shows up and they're all like sitting down and getting things ready. Well, and then she goes to stop the little girl from getting in the street, but then she doesn't take her back. She just keeps on walking, and then the mom finally shows up. And then the only reason that she's saved from basically getting charged with kidnapping is Alice, the protagonist, comes in and knows the moms and like talks them out of calling the police and stuff, and just explains her story, saying, oh, she's tried to get pregnant and all this, she can't, and so that's why she did that. And I'm sorry, like,
not a reason to commit kidnapping.
No, and I mean, I have very close friends that have gone through IVF, have had a miscarriage, has even gone through a failed a failed adoption. And no, that's not acceptable. And I'm like, how is that? And so that's actually why Elizabeth writes to her therapist. But she never gives the letters to the therapist until the very end, when she's like, I hope you can help someone else. But I don't know, this book, and then I hated the ending.
Oh, see, I was gonna like start a revolt or like a rebellion if they didn't get back together.
Well, and it made it seem that way for so long, and then they're like, oh, and
I didn't. Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I didn't like how it was like for like ever they weren't gonna get back together, and then like the last 2 pages was like, wait, never mind.
Yeah, it was in the epilogue, like, oh, we're good. And even though I still may have some feelings for the principal, but no, I don't. Like,
see, I feel like she never really had feelings for the principal. I think it was all based on the fact that because they happened to always be at the same events, it was just kind of like easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she always loved Nick.
Yeah, I think she loved Nick. And I mean, I seriously would have thrown the book across the room if they didn't end up get back together.
I mean, I am seriously team Nick and Alice.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Sorry, Exo's eating a book.
Yeah, you know, just casually over here chewing down on a book. What are you doing? What are you doing? He has been a disaster today, you guys. He has been running around like crazy, being so hyper and growling and barking, and it's just interesting.
Okay, so a discussion question. Did you like the younger Alice best, or did you relate more to the older Alice?
I don't relate to any Alice. I'm sorry, I did not like her as a human. So I didn't like either one.
I think I liked her when she and Nick first got together.
Yeah.
You know, that was like a really, and I was like, oh, that's a good character. And then as she got older and she like bitter and everything, I felt like, and life took over. And then the marriage fallout. I'm like, no. And even after the amnesia, I'm like,
see, okay, and that's why it's weird, because I didn't really like her as a character or as a person, but I was still rooting for her throughout the whole book. But I was just so frustrated. I think just because I'm so, I don't know, I guess like assertive, because I get like the whole dazed thing. So like, okay, we're gonna go for like the first couple of days, like you're dazed and you're not gonna ask a bunch of questions. But then like it gets to be like 4 or 5 days or a week, I would be like, tell me what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. And I know I keep harping on that point, but it just literally, it so frustrated me so bad.
Right.
I'm just like, just tell me what is going on. Who is this Gina person? Mm-hmm. And that was another thing. Gina,
yeah,
is a friend. And there's little hints dropped. It's like, we don't talk about Gina. And basically, I thought Nick had cheated.
An affair.
Yeah, I thought he had
It led all the way up, and even she had a memory of something happening.
Yes. And as it turns out, Gina was her best friend, and Gina and her husband got a divorce. And so this is where I really get annoyed. Alice essentially like took on those same feelings as Gina and started blaming Nick, and that's when like all of the marriage problems started. Even like, okay, so Gina's husband kissed some other woman in a laundry room.
The deputy principal, so I'm assuming it's the assistant principal.
Yeah.
Because it takes place in Australia.
Yeah. So Gina's husband, I think Mark, maybe? I don't remember. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
It's an M.
But yeah, so he kisses the deputy principal, and it's like Alice gets a memory, and it's Nick kissing the deputy principal. And I'm just like, what? And so she brings it up to Nick, and he's like, yeah, you always blamed me for that, even though I had literally nothing to do with it.
Right, and then you're wondering, like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah,
how did you not have anything to do with it? And then it's like several chapters later, it's revealed that, no, that was actually Gina catching her husband.
Yeah.
And then another
And I'm sorry, but like, if you are that invested in anyone else's relationship, you need to like take a moment, go sit down with your relationship, your significant other, and figure out your life, because there are just certain things that like, you can be there for your friend, and you can be sympathetic, and you can like, but you don't bring that, like, you don't bring that anger home to your significant other.
Right.
That's not fair to them.
And at the same time, that's when Nick, the husband, is starting to get more promotions and more responsibilities at work. And so, like, his stress was already higher enough because of that. And then they blame it on, like, one of the big jobs he had and stuff. And so
basically like, they all needed therapy.
Yeah.
They all needed to just communicate a little bit. And we wouldn't be here talking about this if that had been the case.
Right. Now, what'd you think about how they handled Madison, their daughter, through the whole thing? Now, Madison witnessed, because Gina died. So, and we find out towards the end that they were on their way to, like, the gym. And they drove in separate cars, and because Alice just had to take her daughter, it was just big inconvenience for her to take her daughter to the dentist. And so they were behind her, and like this sudden storm happened, and a tree fell onto Gina's car and killed her. And so my initial thought would have been like, well, obviously your daughter needs therapy immediately. Not, let's wait a year later after her mom gets amnesia, after she's been caught bullying kids at school, and after she's caught cutting the hair off of someone and like cutting someone's like hair off like at school. That's not, I'm like, you needed to take steps, I feel like, way before that.
I think that
like they were so involved in themselves that they couldn't.
But I also think that, like, when was this book written?
Oh, so maybe it wasn't.
I feel like
2009.
Okay, so I feel kind of like now we tend to jump more toward therapy when like we recognize a traumatic event and we like go ahead and like we take those steps to go to therapy. Whereas it used to, I feel so like weird saying this because like I don't want to like offend anybody or anything. I feel like we used to say like, oh, it'll just like
they'll grow out of it or something.
Yeah, or they'll grow out of it.
Because I mean, even now, like at school, I mean, because I started teaching in 2011, so.
And we're both also not parents, so I mean,
No.
I don't know. I'm not gonna presume to decide when your kid needs therapy or not, but I feel like Madison definitely displayed signs of there was something wrong.
And now, like in our schools, we actually have like school counselors available, and we can, and we have like a social worker at our school that will talk to kids and stuff if we feel. And so, and I think that is because mental health has become such a big issue, and like people have really gotten behind supporting it, and like we have a grief group at our school, and so like she would have been the perfect kid for that, like, you know, her mom's best friend, she witnessed it, all that. And I guess you're right, like in 2009.
Sorry guys, our camera did not, or like stopped recording. We were talking about Madison displaying signs that she probably needed some therapy. But we were also talking about how in 2009 when this book was released, the people tried to kind of like deal with stuff like that at home, and it wasn't as prevalent to like seek outside help. And even now some people believe like not seeking outside help. So yeah, we're also like neither of us are parents,
right? So,
you know, take what we say with a grain of salt, because we don't know how it is living with your kids. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we've been talking about for the last couple of minutes. I don't know how long the camera was off.
Yeah,
I know, I forgot to look at it. We're just out of practice, but yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
one of the questions at the back is, how did you feel about the sections written from the perspectives of Elizabeth and Franny? Did they add to your enjoyment of the book, or would you have preferred to have it written entirely from Alice's point of view?
We kind of answered that.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't really care for Franny's things, but I did appreciate Elizabeth's, because she gave kind of the outside observer's perspective of Alice as a patient, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then another one is, in order for Nick to be successful at his job, was it inevitable that he would spend less time with his family and thereby grow apart from Alice? I feel like that's true of any job.
I think so too. I mean, if you do want to advance at work, like, you do have to spend more time, and it may mean more trips like he had. It may mean longer hours and all of that. And then because of that, you do naturally, I think, grow apart. But I don't think they mean to.
No, I don't think they mean to. I don't think it's something that, like, you consciously do, but I do think that you have to consciously make an effort to communicate with your spouse.
And even your kids, because, I mean, at this age, like, 10-year-olds, they do realize that you are not there. Like, and they do realize, I mean, that they're, you know, that relationship is different and stuff, and things have changed. And I think I think anyone in that position has to be more purposeful, like you said. Like, I know, I mean, I could spend hours at my job every day, like, to make sure it's done right and all that, and I do. And
I was gonna say, like, school gets out at, like, what, 3, and you're there until, like, 6 or 7.
6 or 7, yeah. So, I mean, it just happens that way because I do have a lot more responsibilities, but...
Well, and, like, with nursing, it was, like, even when I was, like, part-time at the hospital, like, there were constantly, like, classes for continuing education, or there were, like, different, like, volunteer opportunities, or, like, signing up for this committee or that committee, or, like, what have you. So, I mean, like, I think any job, honestly, I feel like a lot of them just try to take over your life.
They do, and I think you have to set boundaries, not only at home with those expectations, but even in the workplace.
Oh yeah, totally. And I don't think that these two are very good at that. Maybe they're good at it now, but we don't really know.
No.
These questions keep referring to, like, after amnesia Alice, but, like, you literally get, like, what, like 10, 15 pages
after she gets her memories back.
And it's just like, I don't know.
And even then, it's just a Mother's Day recap saying that, like, all you know is that they're teenagers now. Then you discover she is with Nick. And that they were only separated for a year.
Yeah, and that was annoying. I felt like the pacing was a little bit off in that instance, because I feel like we got so much of just, like, the daily, like, day in and day out type of routine. And granted, like, it was a little bit more interesting because she had amnesia, but at the same time I was just like, oh my god, can we get to the point?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad book.
No.
By any means. It just probably is not going to be one of my favorites.
Well, and then, you know, it's supposed to be turned into a movie. I don't know if that's ever happened, though.
Yeah, because we have the
rights.
We have the older cover.
That says that it was bought by Fox. Like, in the back.
And then Fox was bought by Disney, wasn't it? So.
Like this year, so.
Who knows what they are doing.
Yeah, because it's in development, is what it says on IMDb. So I guess it's been in development for a very long time. That's all it's saying. So maybe everyone else kind of had our feelings, like I don't know if I'd be interested in watching this movie.
This is a good question, because it's kind of one that I was thinking about as I was reading it. Alice is shocked by many transformations. Her gym tone body, her clothes, her house. Are you more or less polished than you were a decade ago? And do you think there's any deeper significance to such change? So while I was reading the book, I was thinking about, like, where I was at 10 years ago. So it was like 2009. I was about to go to college. Yes, I am basically telling you my age right now. I was with my ex, who was my, like, serious boyfriend of high school, or part of high school and part of college. And I think that if I kept thinking of it for some reason in terms of, like, if I woke up and I thought I was, like, 18 what would I think? Like, I would be like, damn, I kicked some ass. Like, seriously, because I've got my husband who is amazing. I've got my dog who's amazing. I've got my house. I've got my own business, which is a creative business, which is what I always really wanted to do. So yeah, I totally kicked some ass. I would be really upset that I don't remember my trips to Universal, but that would just be an excuse that I needed to go again. So yeah, what about you?
I was working on my master's for teaching at that time and actually figuring out, well, that's when I made the decision to go for my master's, because I worked at a local store. I was taking some science classes because I thought about med school, and then worked at a local hospital teaching doctors accounting. It was kind of crazy. And like, that was a rough part, very rough part of my life right then. Like, some of the things I went through, and so now I'm glad I went through everything I did. Yeah. And I'm glad, like, I would be totally okay not to remember any of
that's
that.
my thing too, is I had a lot, I mean, other than like just the fact that, like, honestly, like, I'm kicking ass in comparison to 18, but like, I had a lot of just like general real like life growing up to do, but also a lot of I guess trauma, I hate to use that word, but to like get past, and a whole bunch of stuff. Also, nursing school. I would be glad I didn't remember nursing school. So yeah, I would be kind of glad.
Yeah, I would be really glad to not remember any of that. And then,
but then I wonder if I would remember the lessons I learned too. Right. You know, like, I mean, yeah. But
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean,
it's crazy how much can change in 10 years. Especially because I just remember being a kid and like thinking, you know, like, oh, I have 10 more years of school left. That's like my whole life. And so, I don't know. It's weird how much 10 years can do.
Well, and then just thinking about like the world, like, she even talks about like,
oh my god, yes,
Brad and Jen, and then the Clintons.
No, she didn't even know Brad and Jen. It was whoever he was with before Jen.
Was it? No, she didn't know about Brad and Angelina.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he was asking
or was it Brad and Gwyneth?
I think it was
Brad and Gwyneth. Because then they mentioned Gwyneth's name, named her baby Apple. And then even asking, because the Lewinsky stuff just happened. So even wondering, well, so did they like stay together, talking about Hillary and Bill? And she's like, and the sister's like, well, no one really talks about that anymore. And I'm like, well, that's true.
And also like text messaging, like that, like everybody kept telling her, like, I texted you, and she's like, what
does that mean?
Text message?
Yeah. Well, and then, but she knew how to figure out the phone, but a lot of the stuff, or log on to the computer, and I like muscle memory, because, you know, I type in my password every day at work, like, without thinking about it half the time. So I think that,
I wish I had
that's why she was like,
I have to use a password tracker,
able to
maybe I have some memory problems and I don't even know it.
But I'm just like, and then I just, you know, then she can suddenly drive this massive, she calls it this like truck car thing or something, like talking about an SUV. And I don't know. It's just crazy to think everything that you learned in 10 years gone.
Yeah.
But then your body does remember it because you've done it so long. Like, she's amazed that she can do like 30 push-ups at one time and all that. Like,
I don't think I would find out. But the thing is, like, I have worked out since 18.
Yeah, you have.
But I didn't work out when I was 18. So, yeah, maybe I would be upset about my back hurting.
Yeah.
So.
We'd be upset about, why do we have migraines?
No, I had migraines at 18. So, yeah. But, yeah, it would be interesting for sure. And it, like I said, it was a good solid 3 stars. And it was a quick read for me.
Yeah, I read it in 2 days, which I don't normally. She read it in a day.
Well,
I know. I'm still like, teach me your ways.
Like, that's why it's so weird for me, because like, I basically couldn't put it down. Right. But I wasn't enjoying what I was reading.
It wasn't a struggle for me to read it though. Like, I wanted to read it and find out the end because I wanted Nick and Alice to be together. Yeah. I wanted that.
But like, I wanted to see that resolution. Yes. And you really don't get that. Like, I wanted to see the communication. I wanted to see like their kind of like rekindling the romance. Well,
and even in here, I don't think we would have gotten it because in the epilogue, that's when we find out that they're together. But then they're even like, you know, her and Dominic, that's the school principal, break up, and 3 weeks later he just immediately moves back into the house. Like, how does that work after 3 weeks? And you're in this nasty divorce and stuff.
Honestly,
and you basically hate her. Like, she hates him when she realizes, when she gets her memories back.
I thought it was so sad because he told her, like, I'll know when you have your memories back because of the way you look at me, and he knew immediately, and I thought it was so sad.
I'm like, how can you be that mean to him? Like, he's a really good guy. Like, I feel like.
Seriously. And he wants to be involved in his kid's life, and I don't know. I was sad.
I know.
And I wasn't enjoying myself, but I kept going.
I don't know.
And now it's done, and I don't know if I'm going to unhaul it or if I'm going to keep it on my shelf for a while. I guess we'll see. I'm trying to get to the point where, like, I only keep the books that I reread.
Well, that one won't be it then.
Yeah, so this one would technically go, but I don't know if I'm ready to get rid of it yet. But anyway, I guess, do you have anything else you want to say about the book? Or are we pretty much done?
I think we're pretty... Now, would you watch the movie if it came out?
If I don't have anything else to do and I need to fold some laundry, sure.
That's what I feel like. I'm like, okay, maybe you can make the movie better. Like, a better resolution.
Okay, so I've tried to watch Big Little Lies at least twice. I always get about 4 episodes in, and then I just lose interest, and I never finish it.
Oh, I really liked it. But I haven't read the book yet.
See, and I've read the book, so, like, I know what happens. But, yeah, so I'm kind of upset they're going to make a second season, because the story's over. But
that's what I wondered, how that is actually possible.
There's a preview, and it's, like, it gives away how they're going to do it. But
I've seen that, but I'm still like,
so I don't know. I mean, I guess I would watch it like I would watch Big Little Lies if I didn't have anything else to watch. I don't know. I feel like I'm being really harsh on this book. I really did not hate it as much as it probably sounds. I gave it 3 stars. It's a solid 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which it means it's a good book. Like,
it's decent.
It's a good, I feel like, summer read, or like a rainy weekend type read, or a pool read.
And I think it's one that pretty much everyone can relate to as well. So yeah, this was our May group read. I actually created a Goodreads group. We haven't used it like at all, but I'm gonna leave it linked down below because hopefully that might be a little bit better of a way for us all to like talk back and forth about the book. And you can also comment on our Instagram and talk to us, or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below. Sorry, YouTube, that you missed a few minutes, but yeah, bear with us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope you like this episode. We are going to do the June group read, which I guess we're going to go ahead and announce.
Yeah.
It's going to be The 1000th Floor by Catherine McGee, because we both own this book and we want to get it off of our TBR, okay?
And it kind of sounds like, what, futuristic, Gossip Girl-y, and we're both going to New York, so...
It'll be a good read.
It will.
And hopefully it'll be kind of like a good, like, not simple read, but like a good kind of like...
Not like a fluffy.
Yeah.
Kind of, where you don't have to really think about it or get angry when the main character gets amnesia. And then no one takes care of her.
So, yeah, we hope you'll join us for this. We'll definitely make a post in the Goodreads group and on Instagram and all that good stuff. Don't forget to leave us a review if you like our podcast. It really helps us out. Hit the thumbs button. Thumbs up button. God, subscribe. I cannot talk. Yeah, definitely subscribe. All that good stuff. And we will see you next week with another episode. Bye.